NEWS.MC on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Bringing you news on Monaco's economy, culture, sports and more. Welcome to NEWS.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Coming up on NEWS.MC, discover past week's top stories and meet the people who make Monaco.
My name is Abigail Taralili. I'm a model and actress, and you're watching NEWS.MC on Monaco Info.
What's been making headline in the past week? Malta's Deputy Prime Minister Ian Borg undertook a two-day working visit to Monaco on January the 21st and 22nd. In meetings with Monegasque officials, discussions centred on shared interests in economic development, tourism and maritime industries, with a particular focus on sustainable yachting, port services and high-end tourism. A key outcome was the signing of an updated double taxation agreement, aligning with OECD anti-avoidance standards under the BEPS framework. Existing investments, such as Monaco Telecom's operations in Malta, were noted as examples of successful economic collaboration. The visit concluded with a reception at the Minister of State's residence, where both delegations reaffirmed their intent to explore further opportunities for strategic cooperation across finance, tourism and maritime sectors. Following the fatal New Year's Eve incident in Crans-Montana, Swiss, Monaco has stepped up safety checks in nightclubs. On the evening of Friday, the 23rd January, inspectors visited Nix Monte Carlo at peak hours to assess fire safety systems, emergency exits and late-night operating licenses. The visit was well received by management, who confirmed compliance with all regulations. Similar checks were carried out at 5 other venues that evening, with 20 more due next week. The Minister of State has also called for updated legislation to ban pyrotechnics, including Bengal lights, in enclosed spaces across the Principality. The French Navy minehunter Capricorn has docked in Monaco for its first visit of 2026, marking a symbolic moment in the year celebrating the Navy's 400th anniversary. His Serene Highness Prince Albert II toured the vessel on Friday, January the 23rd, meeting the crew and exploring its specialist equipment, including diver systems and underwater drones. With 51 sailors on board, Capricorn focuses on mine clearance and maritime security. A joint diving exercise with Monaco's maritime police is also planned, reinforcing Franco-Monegasque cooperation in naval operations. France, Italy and Monaco gathered in the Principality on January 23rd for the 58th Commission meeting of the Ramoge Agreement, ahead of its 50th anniversary in 2026. The tripartite treaty, focused on combating marine pollution and protecting biodiversity, entered a new phase under Italy's chairmanship for the 2025 to 2026 cycle. Delegates confirmed that a large-scale pollution response exercise, Ramoge Pol, would be held in Monaco this June to strengthen joint operational capacity. In addition to on-the-ground actions, the Commission reaffirmed its commitment to public awareness, stressing that protecting the Mediterranean remains a shared responsibility. Monaco welcomed energy experts, investors and innovators for the first Monaco Energy Storage Forum on Saturday, January the 24th, spotlighting the strategic importance of storage solutions for renewable power. Held in the Principality, the event addressed how to stabilize energy grids by efficiently storing excess solar and wind power. International leaders presented successful large-scale models, while Monaco-based companies demonstrated AI tools that predict machinery failures and improve energy efficiency. The forum marks a key milestone in Monaco's sustainability agenda, reinforcing its role as a hub for innovation and international collaboration in renewable energy technologies. The Barbadouans of Monaco secured a dramatic penalty shootout victory over Cirque FC in the 6th edition of the Fight AIDS Cup at Stade Louis II on January the 24th. Organised by Louis Ducrouet under the high patronage of Princess Stephanie, the charity match raised funds for Fight AIDS Monaco. After a 1-1 draw, with goals from Javier Chevanton and Maxime Gonalons, the match went to penalties, where Flavio Roma's key save and Olivier Vigneault's winning spot kick sealed the Barbadouans' second title. Eden Hazard was awarded the Jeannot Petit Trophy in a night celebrating sport, solidarity and HIV awareness. His Serene Highness Prince Albert II was in Jeddah to support Team Monaco at the opening round of the 2026 E1 World Championship on January the 25th, marking the Principality's debut in the all-electric powerboat racing series. Co-founded by Maxime Notre and Chris Taylor, Team Monaco will race under number 98 and align its ambitions with the goals of the Prince Albert II and Princess Charlene foundations. Despite a challenging debut, finishing 9th, the team gained valuable experience. Aoki Racing Team dominated the weekend with back-to-back victories, while Team Brady and Team Alula completed the podium. The championship will now visit cities worldwide, including Monaco, this summer at Port Hercule. Swedish driver Oliver Solberg made history at the 94th Monte Carlo Rally on January the 25th by becoming the youngest ever winner of this iconic WRC event. After several days of racing across challenging conditions, Solberg finished ahead of Britain's Elfyn Evans and France's Sébastien Ogier, the 9-time WRC winner in Monaco. Solberg credited strong teamwork and car setup for his success in the most demanding stages. In the WRC2 category, Frenchman Leo Rossel secured a memorable victory, succeeding his brother Johan Rossel as category winner. Rossel described his first WRC win at Monte Carlo as magical, praising his car's performance and consistency throughout the weekend. Monaco honoured its patron saint with 2 days of solemnity and symbolism as the annual Feast of Saint Devota unfolded across the Principality. On January the 27th, the traditional pontifical mass took place at the cathedral, followed by a solemn procession of the saint's relics to the prince's palace, watched by the princely family from the balcony and attended by key figures including Minister of State Christophe Meerman. The celebrations began the night before with a torchlit procession and the ritual burning of a boat in Port Hercule, commemorating the legend of brigands attempting to steal the saint's remains. Locals and visitors gathered to witness the centuries-old tradition, many collecting ashes from the symbolic fire as keepsakes. The celebration reaffirmed the enduring spiritual and cultural significance of Saint Devota in Monaco's national identity. Next up, our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is Abigail Torralilly. I'm a model and actress. I grew up in a small town called The Wirral, which is in Merseyside, which is over the water from Liverpool. And it's a very, very small town. There's not much going on there. So I didn't actually leave England until I was 17 years old, so I spent most of my life there. I was homeschooled until I was 12. My parents didn't really agree with the education system over there because they didn't feel that I was going to get the right education, so they homeschooled me, and I was a very creative child, so they focused a lot on like my music abilities and painting, so I had a very happy childhood actually. I'm one of 7 girls as well, so it was quite challenging for my parents, but they managed. I started modeling when I was 16, but I was in theatre school for a very long time, since I was 10 years old. I was on stage and somebody scouted me and said, "We really want you to be a model." And I was 13 at the time and I was like, no, I don't want to be a model, you know? And then people kept scouting me and coming up to me in the street and saying, "We really want you on our books. We think you'll be an incredible model." And I really didn't want to be a model. But at one point, I just thought, you know what? I might as well do it, because I got offered a contract in China. And I just came home from college one day and I said to my parents, "I'm going to go to China." And they were like, "What?" I didn't even have a passport at the time. I'd never left the country. I was at the dentist with my mum, and there was a Vogue magazine, and I must have been about 10. And I opened it and I saw this beautiful editorial of this girl, and she was just sitting in the forest with this beautiful dress. And I looked at that and I said, "Mummy, I want to be in this magazine when I grow up." And I was like, "I'm going to be in this magazine." She was like, "Okay," you know, like dreamer. And I was like, "No, Mummy, I'm going to be in this magazine." And when I started traveling at 17, I was in Vogue within 2 years, a 6-page cover of Vogue. And I showed my mum and I said, "Mum, I told you so." I told you I was going to be in this magazine. It was very challenging for me, actually, when I was traveling. I was quite naive, being very protected from the world, to kind of being thrown into the ocean, you know, like a tiny pond into a big ocean full of sharks. And I was vulnerable, and I didn't understand that people could be so bad, you know. So I did fall into a few difficult, challenging situations. I managed to come out of it stronger. And it's a lesson. It's taught me a lot about life. And I have a daughter, she's 5, so I'm very, very protective over her now. You know, it was a good lesson for me. I was always the model that wasn't so thin, but I wasn't plus size. I was just normal, like, weight. So they used me a lot for the commercial catalogue stuff because I didn't want to be unhappy. I like to eat, I enjoy food. So I was like, okay, I'm happy just being a catalogue and a commercial model. I did a lot of the TV commercials for, you know, because of that, because I looked like a normal, healthy girl. When I was in South Korea, the food was great there, so I put a little bit of weight on. It sounds crazy, but every week they would measure the girls in the agency with the tape. I was 2 centimeters bigger than I should have been. And they give us pocket money like every week so we can buy food and blah, 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 and they cut my pocket money because they were like, we don't want you to eat. So that was challenging for me, to be told I'm too fat and I'm not allowed to eat. I had to like ration my food. That was the downside of the industry. You have to be really tough because the amount of times where I've gone to castings and they've just looked at me and said no, like out. I'm not right for them. They're looking for a particular image, okay? And maybe they want a blonde or dark hair or maybe, you know, someone taller. So I just kind of told myself I'm not right for them, but I'm going to be right for somebody else. But now I'm interested in doing more film. And I've recently been signed with an acting agency in London, and they've offered me quite a lot of work for Netflix. I'm trying to pick and choose what I do because I don't want to do one thing and for it to like affect my career, if that makes sense. Waiting for the right thing to come up. My dream actually in the future is to become a psychologist. I've been through a lot in my life, so I feel like I'm able to become a good psychologist, if that makes sense, because I've seen many things. I've been through many things. I've been the lowest, like the poorest. I've been the richest, you know. So I can really understand people from all different backgrounds. So yeah, my dream is to become a psychologist in the future. I do like it here. The first few years here were quite challenging for me. I was quite isolated. But now that my daughter's in school, I'm working a lot again, and I found amazing people here. It feels like home. I have a child, and I think the schools here are amazing. It's really safe. I feel safe here with her, and it's kind of like an environment full of all of these outcasts, but we all come together and we all fit in with each other, you know? I feel like everyone likes to keep themselves here.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching News.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover the full interview and more stories on our websites, News.MC and MonacoInfo.com. Next week we will receive Mark Bailey, founder and co-director of De Midville. This show is intended to provide a summary of the past week's top stories for the English-speaking audience. For daily and real-time news updates in English, please visit News.MC and subscribe to our free daily newsletter. For French news, visit MonacoInfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.